My appointee in the Grand Lodge line, Most Worshipful Brother Robert Downey, a wonderful Mason, when he attended the Grand Conference of Grand Masters, a decision was made by the Grand Masters to undertake a program to address the problem of drug abuse by young people.
In 2005, we felt that we should be doing something different. Normally, we were under the umbrella of the drug and alcohol abuse, and we said, let's do something for children. And one of the past Grand Masters went to Washington, D.C. with line officers, and they decided, after seeing the presentation, that a CHIP program would be ideal to run in Missouri. When we say CHIP, most people think we're putting a chip in a child. We are not. MO stands for Mo, CH Children, I Identification, P Protection Program. We started out with borrowed equipment. We had one set of equipment, and today we have 8 sets of equipment. To give you an idea in expense, one set is $40,000. So we now have 8 sets of equipment at $40,000. We have 8 teams, plus we maintain a $250,000 inventory to back up our 8 teams.
To see a program that has evolved over 6 years and to be stronger today than it was the previous year, because everybody just keeps getting behind it and we keep moving forward. This is unlimited where we can go with this.
One of the obstacles we have, and we're working on this, the older teenagers. And teenagers, especially girls, between the ages of 13 and 21, are the hardest to say, yes, I'm going to do it. They say, oh, Mom, that's for little Johnny, it's not for me. We had an incident in Cape Girardeau. A 14-year-old girl fortunately went through our program. She ran away, was abducted by a 55-year-old man who she met on MySpace, on the computer. Fortunately, she went through the program. This was in Cape Girardeau. The parents gave the police the envelope. They took the disc, ran an Amber Alert. The next morning, someone happened to see them in Arkansas at a Burger King. That night, she was safely home with her parents. We do not know the names of these children. We don't want to know them. But because of what we do, that child was saved. We said if we could only find or save one child, it would be worth it. So far, we've saved 8. There are 22 states that have some sort of child ID chip program. There is an international organization which we do belong to. But if we could boast a little bit, Missouri leads the pack. We're at 130,000 in 6 years. It has taken some states 10, 11, 12 years just to reach 100,000. We did that in 5 years.
People realize that it costs money to do this program because it is free to the public. And so there are some donations starting to come now. And it just, like I said, it keeps growing. It's endless.
Well, of course, Masonic Home goes back into the late 1880s and was started. And one of the things that has been great about the Masonic Home, in my opinion, throughout history, is they've looked and they've evolved. You know, they started out in a bricks and mortar, obviously in St. Louis, with a home, a facility that people came to. They evolved to an assisted living facility on the western side of our state in Kansas City area. And now we've divested ourselves of those bricks and mortar, because we have found that our membership doesn't want to necessarily move to Kansas City or move to St. Louis, but they still need help. And so by use of the outreach program, where we can help you where you are, stay near your family, stay near your friends, your church, that's certainly definitely a positive thing. So throughout history, one of the great things about the Masonic Home is we've been able to evolve with our membership and to provide the needs that they have and provide those needs where they need them. You know, we are actually helping Missouri Master Masons in Florida and California. So again, their family may have moved to that area and they still may have a need to be in some kind of a facility and need assistance. And as long as they've maintained their membership within the fraternity or within the Order of the Eastern Star, we're still willing to help them and able to help them with our outreach program. The Creating a Partnership, of course, is where we partner with the local lodges to find a need within their community, within the school system specifically, within their community of children that may need something such as a backpack or shoes or whatever. And partnering with the local lodges actually put up 50% of the funding for that program, and then the lodge gets the recognition. It's not the Masonic Home that gets the recognition in that. That local lodge is making and building a relationship with that community, with that school, with that child that, who knows, may plant a seed. They may become members of our fraternity in the future simply because they got a backpack from that local lodge. And we provide so much assistance to those people that are truly in need.
First of all, I think you have to understand what our history is like. In September of 1941, our Grand Master, Harry Truman, really had some foresight and some future that people were wanting to know about Masonry, particularly within the great state of Missouri. With that, the Lodge of Research was born, and during its history, we have actually published 52 books. And we have always had from the very beginning that each member will get that book free of charge in the fall of the year, either before or after Grand Lodge. And the more that we are obtaining information, we are trying our very best to get a avenue for new writers of Masonry to do some research and then give them the opportunity to have their works published. We are seeking those individuals that might want to invest in the future of Masonic education through the Missouri Lodge of Research. And I think we need to define what Masonry has been in the past, but more important, we really need to identify what tomorrow's Masons are going to be like. Give me information. And that's what we are. We are a vehicle for Masonic information.
It was my privilege in the 1960s to get well acquainted with a beloved member of our fraternity who was a regular visitor to our lodge. His name was Dr. Samuel Smith Stewart. All of the male members of his family who had come to the United States had been members of the Masonic fraternity. Dr. Stewart was the grandson of a distinguished military leader during the Civil War, and subsequent to the war, his grandfather accepted the position of Chancellor of the University of Mississippi. We had enough funds to provide 30 scholarships the first year, each of which provided $5,000. I realize that in these times of inflation that perhaps dollars began to lose their value, but the $5,000 which we were able to give initially helped to pay a lot of the bills of young men and women who were going to college.
It was such a relief to get it. It's been such a huge help these past 6 semesters, and I'm starting my 7th semester now, and every semester it's been a big help knowing that I have that to almost rely on to make sure that I make it through school.
So having that scholarship money takes a lot of the stress off. I do still work, but not nearly as much as I would have to. I'm able to really focus on my grades because I have that backing.